My mom is alone. Now there is something deeply emotional about watching time pass, about seeing the person who once held your hand now spending their days alone. My mother, the woman who raised us with such strength and care, now finds herself in the quiet phase of life. Her children have grown up, moved away, built families of their own, and pursued careers far from home. And though life goes on, there's a tender ache in knowing that the woman who was once the center of a busy home now walks through empty rooms with only memories for company. My mother gave everything to raise her children. She didn't count the hours, the sleepless nights, or the sacrifices. She simply gave and gave and gave. She was there for every scraped knee, every school project, every meal, and every heartbreak. She gave us stability, love, and direction. She created a home filled with warmth, laughter, and discipline. She was the heartbeat of our childhood. Now, the silence that fills her home is unfamiliar. The laughter of children has faded into echoes. The clinking of dishes, once part of a daily routine with her family around the table, is now a solo activity. Her mornings are slower, her evenings are quieter, the days stretch longer than they used to, and she waits, sometimes for a phone call, sometimes for a visit, sometimes just for a familiar voice to say, "I miss you, Mom." It's not that we don't love her. We do, with all our hearts. But life, with its fast pace and endless responsibilities, has carried us away. Jobs in different cities, raising our own children, managing households, all of these fill our days. We mean to call more. We mean to visit more often. But sometimes the days slip by, and the distance feels farther than just miles. I often think about how lonely it must be for her, especially during holidays or weekends when families gather. I imagine her walking through her house, pausing by the photos on the wall, our school pictures, graduation snapshots, wedding portraits. Her eyes probably linger on them, recalling the noise, the chaos, the love that once filled every corner of her home. She never complains. That's one of the things about my mother. She has always been strong. She doesn't say she's lonely. She doesn't demand attention. But I know. I can hear it in her voice sometimes. The quiet pauses, the long sighs, the way she says, "I'm okay," a little too softly. I can feel the weight of time on her shoulders, the solitude of aging that so many mothers face after years of giving themselves fully to their families. I wish we had realized sooner how deeply she would feel our absence. When we were younger, it seemed natural to leave, to find our way in the world, to explore opportunities beyond our hometown. But I now understand that every goodbye was harder for her than for us. She smiled at our success, but I now know she cried when we left. She celebrated our independence, but mourned the days when we needed her less. She doesn't need much. She never has. A phone call means the world to her. A letter, a video chat, a surprise visit. These are treasures to her heart. And yet, we often let time and busyness take priority over those small but meaningful gestures. Sometimes I think about what she must feel when the door doesn't knock all week, when the phone doesn't ring for days. It breaks my heart, not because she blames us, but because she doesn't. She understands, she always has, and that understanding makes her even more deserving of our love and time. She lives simply now. The same home she raised us in has become both a sanctuary and a reminder. Her routines are still gentle and organized. She tends her garden. She keeps the house clean. She cooks simple meals, sometimes too much for one person, hoping someone might come by. She talks to neighbors, reads books, and watches her favorite shows. But underneath all of that is a quiet longing for connection, for the noise of family, for the joy of being surrounded by those she once held so close. Being alone is one of the most difficult emotional journeys. For a woman like my mom, who spent her entire life putting others first, the silence of old age can feel like a cruel reward. But she never lets it harden her heart. She still loves with the same softness, still hopes with the same faith, still prays for our happiness even when we are far away. The truth is, my mother's heart is still full. Full of love, full of memories, full of strength. She may be alone, but she is not forgotten. And now, more than ever, we need to remember to show her that, to remind her that even if we're far, she is always in our hearts, to call just to say, I love you, to send photos of our children so she can feel close to her grandchildren, to ask her for advice so she still feels needed, to remind her that the love she gave us didn't disappear. It simply lives on through us, wherever we are. Even though time has passed and we, her children, have grown and scattered like seeds in the wind, my mother still remains the center of our lives, quietly, gracefully, patiently. She no longer asks for anything. She has already given all she could, but if I could give her one thing in return, it would be this: time, attention, and the reassurance that she is not forgotten. When we were little, my mother's love was all-encompassing. She kissed our foreheads when we were sick, stayed up late sewing costumes for school plays, and sacrificed her own dreams to build ours. She didn't travel the world, but she gave us the world. She never had a high salary, but she made sure we never felt poor, not in food, not in warmth, not in affection. And now, in her later years, the house that once echoed with laughter now holds a sacred kind of silence. I imagine her walking past our old rooms. The walls still hold traces of our youth. Faded posters, old curtains, dusty books. Each corner tells a story. Each object holds a memory. The home is a museum of the love she gave and the lives she nurtured. And yet, it stands mostly still while the world outside rushes on. We live in fast-moving cities now. Our calendars are full. Our phones ring non-stop. We chase goals, raise children, attend meetings, and keep up with deadlines. But sometimes, in the middle of it all, a quiet thought slips in. I wonder how Mom is doing today. We promise ourselves we'll call tonight, but forget. We say we'll visit next month, but postpone. Time moves quickly for us, but it moves slowly for her. A week without a call feels like a month. A missed birthday wish feels like a small heartbreak. And yet, she never complains. Her love is too big for bitterness. She tells us, I'm happy if you're happy. But that selfless answer carries a weight we should not ignore. Because happiness, for her, is not just about seeing us succeed. It's about feeling included in our lives. It's about still being our mom. Not just in name, but in connection. She used to wait at the door for us to come home from school. Now she waits for the phone to ring. She used to prepare meals for 6. Now she eats alone, often with leftovers or something simple. She used to plan birthdays, holidays, Sunday lunches. Now she remembers them in quiet reflection, hoping for even a short message or call from the ones she loves most. It's not that we are bad children. We love her deeply. We simply forget how much she still needs us, not in the way we needed her when we were young, but in the way the heart needs love, conversation, and companionship, especially in the later chapters of life. Growing older is not just about wrinkles or health issues. It's about facing the world with fewer people to share it with. Friends move away. Some pass on. The routines slow down. The excitement of youth is replaced with memories, but memories can only comfort so much. Nothing replaces the warmth of a child's voice saying, "Hi, Mom, I miss you." And it's not just the loneliness. It's the quiet loss of identity. For decades, she was Mom, the caretaker, the cook, the problem solver, the listener, the everything. Now, with grown children living far away, she sometimes wonders where she fits in. Her purpose feels unclear. That's why it's so important for us, her children, to remind her that her value hasn't changed. She may no longer pack our lunches or walk us to school, but she still holds a place in our hearts that no one else ever can. We can bring joy back to her days in simple ways. A surprise video call, a letter with old photos, a short trip home, or just a message that says, "Tell me about your day." She doesn't need luxury, she needs connection. As adults, we often spend our time worrying about the future. our careers, our finances, our children. But sometimes we need to pause and think about the past, the hands that held us, the sacrifices that shaped us, the woman who once gave her entire world to us. That woman still needs love. She may not say it, but she does. I dream of building a life where I can include her more, of one day moving closer, of having her at the dinner table again, listening to her laugh as the grandkids play. But until then, I will do what I can from where I am, because even a little love, when shared consistently, can brighten her entire week. She deserves to be remembered every day, not just on birthdays or holidays, because her love wasn't occasional. It was daily, hourly, constant. And now that she's older, we must return that love, not as a duty, but as a thank you. I wish the world would slow down so that we could appreciate our aging mothers before it's too late. Before we're left wishing we had called more, visited more, said, "I love you," more often. Because the greatest regret is not what we did, but what we didn't do. To my mother, you may be alone in your home, but you are never alone in my heart. You are the roots that gave me wings. You are the quiet strength that built my confidence. You are the reason I know how to love. Your presence may now be silent, but your influence speaks in everything I do. As time passes, I've come to realize something deeply powerful. My mother's strength does not shout. It does not demand. It lives in silence, in her patient waiting, in the way she gently folds yesterday's memories and places them beside today's hope. Though she is now alone in the house that once overflowed with life, her spirit remains resilient, steady, and full of love. My mother's life was built around others. Her world was her children. Her daily routines were woven into ours, waking up early to prepare breakfast, ironing school uniforms, attending parent meetings, giving us hugs before bed, and listening to our problems no matter how tired she was. In those busy years, her identity was clear. She was a mother, the heart of the home, the one everyone turned to. But children grow up, as they are meant to. And with time, we spread our wings and flew in different directions. We pursued careers, married, and built lives of our own. We moved to different cities and countries. We chased dreams that took us far from the arms that once held us close. She never asked us to stay. She never made us feel guilty for leaving. Instead, she encouraged us to go, to live, to grow. But what she didn't say, what perhaps even she didn't fully understand, was how hard it would be to let go, how heavy the silence would feel once we were gone, how deeply she would miss the noise, the mess, the everyday chaos of motherhood. Now, in her later years, her days are slow. The mornings begin with tea, a glance out the window, maybe a walk in the garden if the weather is nice. She keeps her routines, as if holding on to something familiar keeps her grounded. She waters her plants. She feeds the stray cats outside. She watches old movies and knits small things for the grandchildren she rarely gets to see. Sometimes she smiles for no reason at all, and sometimes she doesn't smile at all. She has learned to live with the ache of distance. She doesn't dwell on it, but it lingers, like a quiet shadow, like the echo of laughter in an empty room. There are pictures of us on her walls, and I know she looks at them often, remembering when we were small, when the house rang with footsteps and giggles, when life was full of movement. Now, the house is still. She sleeps in the same bed, walks the same halls, but everything has changed, and yet she does not complain. That is what amazes me most. Her loneliness is not bitter, it is not resentful, it is graceful. My mother is the kind of woman who finds meaning in small things, a phone call, a blooming flower, a favorite song. She doesn't need grand gestures, she needs connection. And sometimes, even we, her children, forget how powerful a simple call can be. I know she listens to our voices and replays our words long after the conversation ends. I know she notices if we sound tired, even if we say we're fine. I know she remembers our birthdays and anniversaries without needing reminders. She still mothers us in every way she can, from a distance, with prayers, with silent hope. We say we're busy, and we are. But she was once busy too, and yet she never forgot to show up for us. Never forgot to ask how our day was. Never forgot to say, "I love you," even when we were too tired to say it back. So now, as she grows older, we must learn to give back a piece of what she gave us. One visit a year is not enough. One call a month is not enough. One holiday photo cannot replace presence. Because, no matter how strong she is, no one deserves to face aging alone. Not after a lifetime of giving so much to others. Her loneliness isn't just about physical absence. It's the emotional gap, too. The feeling of not being part of our daily lives anymore. The stories she doesn't hear. The joys she's not there to witness. The milestones that pass without her by our side. And yet she claps from afar. She celebrates in her heart. She always supports, even in silence. Sometimes I wonder if she walks past our old bedrooms and whispers our names to herself. I wonder if she smiles at the memories and wipes away tears at night. I wonder if she dreams of the times when we would all sit together at the dinner table, laughing, arguing, living. Now, as I reflect on all my mother has done and continues to do, I see her as one of the greatest blessings in my life. Her consistency is her legacy, not one that shouts or sparkles, but one that is felt deeply and remembered forever. She won't be in history books, but she is the history of our family. She is the reason we're strong. She is the reason we know how to love, how to endure, how to stay grounded when the world around us is uncertain. And one day, I hope to pass on her legacy, to live with the same quiet strength, the same patience, the same unwavering love. Thank you for being you, Mom. To my consistent, strong, steady mother, thank you for being our safe place. Thank you for loving with no conditions. Thank you for teaching us how to live with intention. Thank you for every routine, every quiet sacrifice, and every moment you chose consistency over convenience. You are the greatest example of what love in action looks like. And I am endlessly proud and grateful to be your child.